What Halinka Hart is showing us here is variations in hip stretches using a bench. In the first two videos, you'll notice the upper body is dropped over top the leg, whereas in the third video, the upper body is relatively stationary, and instead, the body as a whole drops down. This is seemingly a slight difference, but it changes how specifically the hip is stretched, and is an interesting application of body-controlled leverage. To start, the left leg, or the leg on the bench, is made to be stationary, with the knee in flexion, the hip in flexion, and externally rotated. The body moves downward, but the left leg stays in this position and place, as it can't pass to the bench. The motion and stretch, therefore, can only be occurring at the hip joint. The stretch, or lengthening of the tissues, is happening at the lateral posterior part of the hip muscles, mainly the posterior part of the gluteus medius and minimus, and some of the gluteus maximus. And it can easily be deep enough to get to the hip capsule itself. The capsule of any synovial joint is the strong connective tissue layer that holds the bones together, the innominate in femur in this specific case. And the capsule is what contains the synovial fluid, the fluid that allows for friction reduction and smooth motion of the joint. As a quick comparison, if the foot were placed flat on the bench, with just knee and hip flexion, the movement would still be mainly occurring at the hip joint, but the force would be much more dispersed along the larger hamstring muscles. To generate this stretch to the full extent, we are using the whole body, again, not just the upper body. By using the back leg to lower and raise the body, you're able to modulate the amount of force placed on the hip, increasing or decreasing as needed, with only slight knee flexion and ankle dorsiflexion of the right leg. We are creating a long leverage system here, a very long one actually. Because the entire upper body and right leg are freely mobile, their weight is put completely on the hip. As with any other long lever, this is a substantial amount of force that can be generated on a very small area, meaning you could very effectively stretch it, or easily injure yourself if done without control, training, and supervision. So as always, be safe and talk to a professional first. But most of all, keep doing cool stuff, Halinka.